Welcome back to the LEC, where we're dropping into draft for game 2. Hot, sweet, and delicious, as my producer just told me. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how hot, sweet, and delicious this is, as SK Gaming are on the blue side. Tristana banned away, LeBlanc removed by Team BDS.
Ivern or Azir. Ivern or Azir. Please deny them that comp. BDS have shown exactly what they want. Double AD carry with Ivern, Azir with Ivern. Need to put some kind of disruption into it.
All I can offer is a poppy in these trying times.
Deception roll.
Jack's taken away from Irrelevant once again. Will we see... Well, last time I believe they banned Renekton. Rel was also taken off the board. Taliyah jungle is, of course, still an option. The Taliyah, I think, was still a strong pick for SK overall. Did well in the laning phase, offered a lot of value later on in the game.
Renekton as well is something I think will work very well with Taliyah if it's open.
True. So what will the ban be? The Xayah taken away from Crownie.
This must be an Azir first pick.
You reckon?
Depends if they leave Maokai open or not. Maokai, Renekton, Taliyah, Azir. Rel.
Rel is what I think the first pick will be. That's what my guess is.
Either they're playing...
I don't think it will be that.
Well, I can't be now, can it?
maybe they're playing Nico or something into it. Zeri is another one.
They really don't want Crownie to have Zeri, eh?
Yeah. What is Crownie gonna play?
Range scaling AD carry. You imagine that Renekton blind will be locked in here for Adam, at least assuming that they haven't changed that much compared to their series versus G2.
Yeah, and you don't really think Irrelevant's going to bring out the Kled as an answer, so...
You wouldn't expect it.
No.
But we'll Here comes the Ivern, though. I'm sure of it. Maokai's open, right? But oh, they are going to go for Maokai, so no Ivern. Surprising. They've actually just dropped it completely. Unless they're flexing this Maokai later on in the draft into support, we'll see. Is Azir a takeaway? Do you want to give SK Azir Zeri? And as much as Crownie can play things like the Kai'Sa, Rakan is open too, which I think is a very powerful pick. They're going to take that one away.
Okay, Maokai, Rakan means that Renekton has fallen significantly lower in the priority field. Support, jungle, you don't really expect mid unless you really want to prioritize the Azir that we've been talking a lot about. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to prioritize the Taliyah and they save the mid for later on. Yeah, jungle is going to continue to be the priority. Maybe SK want to get themselves a support. No, actually, they're going to go for the Renekton themselves. All right, fair enough. Renekton Sejuani, tried and true combo. They synergize very nicely. But of course, Adam's Darius is his typical response. Nothing too surprising for any long-time LEC viewers. So all right, I think both sides kind of getting very much what they want within the first half. We'll see how things translate in the second half, because supports can now be banned away from the side of BDS. Maybe limit things like Braum if they're concerned about some of the disengage tools that it can offer.
I think Alistar Nautilus bans will do really well as well.
Also good.
Azir ban from SK, surely they decided to take that away. I mean, they can target AD, they can ban away Kai'Sa here. AD carries will work with Kai'Sa, you can go Ezreal, you can go Kai'Sa, you can go, I guess, Aphelios, Rakan can kind of work as well. So I don't think Crownie's going to struggle too much to find a champion. We've seen things like the Samira from Twitch.
I was just about to say while you were listing off AD carries, well, yeah, he's also played some crazy stuff. Like, he has played the Twitch in the past. I believe he's got a couple Civ games somewhere under his belt as well. I remember Ziggs was something he used to play a while ago too. Like, the man's kind of played every AD carry under the sun.
Also played Vayne. I'd be quite interested if he wants to bring the Vayne back out.
I'd be surprised if he did it here,
So
but
would
you
I,
never know.
but you never know.
You never know.
Well, they could play Nautilus, Renekton, Sejuani. It's not too bad.
I mean, it's really nice. I think BDS want to ban the Nautilus here, right?
Yeah.
And they all do that. Will the Azir be left open for Nuke to take into that mid lane once again? SK already removed the Twitch. Can keep trying to pinch Crownie's pool, or could look towards mid.
Yeah, Ahri, Nico, Azir, kind of what you're looking at, unless... You know, I mean, Akali is open, which is what they banned away when they blinded the Azir, right? So maybe they're scared of blinding Azir into Akali. How confident are SK are playing Akali into the Azir? They're going to take away the Jace to stop the Jace Maokai strength.
But BDS just pick AD carry here, and then you don't have to blind the Azir, right?
Pretty much. You have so many options. It's kind of up to Crownie what he's feeling into this matchup and into the comp that he's seeing develop.
How good are you at lip reading? Yeah.
He's saying a lot of things right now.
Have you ever watched those lip reading sports things?
Yes, they're one of my favorite things ever. They're so funny.
The funny thing is the Kai'Sa is also kind of like a flex. So they can drop that mid if they want to. And like you said, they can last pick AD as well, still, technically. But yeah, I mean, what happens if SK take away the Azir? Looks like they are maybe going to go down the Nico route. I think it's quite a powerful pick. Struggles in lane against Azir, though, from what I've seen. Does very well inside things like the Ahri, though.
Instead, Milio.
Wow.
I do believe DOS was undefeated on the Milio in summer. 4 games on it, 4 wins.
Big fan of the Milio.
Where will SK go for their final pick? I mean, it's just such a strong pick generally, right? There's the Azir locked in, so now Nuke has to find an answer to his favorite champion in the mid lane.
Oof, that bot matchup looks a bit tough. I mean, a lot of push from the Milio. 3v3 bots will be important. No melee support for the Sejuani, but the top jungle is quite strong. What's Nuke's pick? It's the Xerath, is it?
Oh, range
Okay.
versus range. Okay. We've seen this from Humanoid. We also saw it in the LCK. I think it was recently, right? I think
BDD played it.
FLICKR played it. BDD played it, yeah.
So we've seen it a lot into the Azir. Mainly the idea is you outrange the Azir. You have decent push. You have good poke later on. Kai'Sa, Azir. Sorry, Kai'Sa Xerath, I should say, rather. My apologies. Xerath has longer range. Xerath can poke out the Azir. And as Xerath plus Kai'Sa later on into the game will have a lot of zone control and poke. Team fighting with Kai'Sa, really strong dive when paired up alongside the Darius, the Maokai, and the Rakan as well. So that's going to help get past some of the range that you have with Zeri and Azir and some of the disengage tools that they will have. But I think Milio's ultimate is going to be something that BDS are going to have to find ways to deal with. We've seen consistently that ultimate come down from the Maokai, immediate the Milio responds, and then also the extra tenacity and the CC reduction that you get afterwards can be extremely valuable in these team fights. I'm excited. Another very much scaling game for both these sides. I think SK have a couple options on the top side of the map, but can they shut down Adam on this Darius? Because we've seen him 2v1 sometimes before on this champion, one of his comforts, but it could very well be an effective strategy to get SK another game lead.
All these two teams, though, a spot in a Worlds qualifying series on the line. At least against Golden Guardians, if not one of our top 3 seeds. Let's see if BDS can take it to 2-0.
So, quick stat view. It's interesting because Xerath is classified as a counter to the Azir, right?
Yeah.
In major regions right now, Xerath is 2-9.
2-9.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And against Azir, he has a 22% win rate.
Okay.
Huh.
So that's why I
Who
call
won
it
with
fake.
it?
Yeah, who won? FLICKR won
BDD
one game.
and FLICKR
BDD won one game.
Humanoid lost,
FLICKR
Showmaker
is so
lost,
good.
Insanity lost, BDD lost, Bulldog lost, Jensen lost, Appa lost.
Okay, so what we're
But
saying...
Humanoid had a really good KDA.
Yeah, no,
It's
what-
going to count for something, right?
I'm pretty sure what we're
Nexus still
saying
exploded, buddy.
is if Nuke wins this game, he is the same level as FLICKR and BDD.
That does sound like what you're saying.
They are the only other ones with wins on it.
Yeah, so
Right.
you agree.
Right.
Technically, the math
all
is
right,
not
let's
wrong.
get that
Silence
in
is
writing.
agreement.
All
Okay,
right.
silence is agreement.
Rats, make sure you write that down. Spamming the chat, they're all spamming noted. Right.
That's why I call it fake counter though. Because as much as it like works, Azir is just so reliable. Like it always just finds a way to either out damage, out DPS, rush objectives faster, shuffle Xerath on mid wave when he loses flash, Xerath hugs his tower, and but I do think the pick overall is strong into Azir. It's just interesting how it never really does well.
What I'll say is, like, in lane, I very much understand how like it makes Azir's laning very difficult, right? The range, the fact that you get poked. You literally just saw an example of it where Sertuss just lost his HP and he couldn't really trade back against Nuke. But in the late game team fights, like, look at how annoying this is. This very much makes sense to me. But in the late game, like, you throw a soldier down, stab, 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 stab. It's so difficult for the champions to match the value that you can.
I see you know the secret stabby
That's true.
technique as well, Vedius.
Yeah.
I've never done this before, but I'm not sure if we can get a replay of Markoon's blue buff level 1. We'll see what happens in this bot fight though, because I think SK can turn this.
DOS has to flash. They can try and turn it around. There's the cozy campfire as Exakick starts to put the bullets into the back of Crownie and the Labrov, and Crownie will flash.
Might be able to get a pip
Yeah, maybe a pip replay of what happened to Markoon's, because Markoon finished his blue and Sheo was already finishing his wolves, and he was like an entire camp up. I think Adam walked in and just leashed his blue buff. Maybe he spammed some emotes, and Markoon is like really far behind on the clear right now. Sheo's already cycling through his 4th camp. Markoon's barely reaching it.
Oh, we're getting
Let's
that
have a
replay
look.
for you.
So Markoon starts up the buff. Adam walks up, knows that he's alone, pushes him off it, and then I think he pulls it all the way up to the top side as well. So yeah, that's A lot of time
Quintessential
wasted.
Adam gameplay right there.
That is quintessential Adam gameplay, yep.
That
And look,
slows
now
down.
he's
Here we
mid
are.
lane.
It's either a TP bot lane at minute 3 or
They're flashing for Sertuss.
Yeah, here they come.
flash twisted
He's
advances to
suspicious,
play.
though.
Nuke is trying to path him that way. Sertuss flashes away. Bramble smash to get him back. The apprehend available and first blood to BDS.
Adam classic. Markoon
Yep.
gonna try and dive bot here. See if they
flash
can
on
pull this off.
Crownie.
This is important.
They just hit level 3. That can actually be huge here. Cozy Campfire goes down. Good double knocker from Labrov. Markoon flashing forward. The Sertuss goes down first. It's an absolute bloodbath. And not in the way that SK were hoping. Extra gets 1, flashes away at 2 for 1 in the bottom lane in favor of BDS.
Oh, it's just a train wreck in the bot lane. SK, they tried to make the dive. The level up was crucial. Now Sheo making his way
Exakick might die
across.
here.
I think Exakick does die here, Caedrel. Use the E forward. Sheo doesn't need a flash. He's got a twisted advance. He makes his home in the trees. The dash forward, the dash back as Exakick tries to escape. There's 2 red buffs on the enemy team. And Exakick has no place to go. Sheo slams him into the dirt and BDS are 4 to 1 up.
That's a pretty good start for BDS, one could say.
DOS.
He's just going to be annoying here.
Yep.
Interrupt the base from Sheo. But wow, so a lot of kind of connecting pieces here across the map. We think back to the level 1 from Adam, slowing down Markoon's ability to get around the map. Then this very early level 3 from Sheo. Flashes in for the play, uses the Q to get the knockback into the stun from Nuke with the Adam rotation down to bot after he gets the push in top lane. And then we look back at this dive.
So DOS has heal right now, and I think he thinks that he's not going to die to the shot. So just watch DOS for me for a second, because he's tanking 1, 2, and he thinks he can tank a 3rd with shield. But he can't. If he healed there, he would have been able to tank another and then drop, and that drops 1 tower hits for a couple milliseconds. Maybe they could have killed one off faster, but still, that dive. Nightmare scenario.
It was a really nice knockup from Labrov. 2 of them, even though neither of them had tower aggro, just bought so much time for Crownie.
It's also hard for the Zeri to hit under tower.
Yep. It was, trying to think of a metaphor.
Shit. The good news as well for BDS is that Labrov got both the kills, and we all know a Fed support is in a really good position in this sort of lane. Obviously,
I
you
really
would've
wasn't expecting that. Yeah, the dive was very surprising. Anyway, first Dragon likely going in favor of BDS. SK trying to challenge.
Oh, this could be good for SK.
Could be really good. Markoon going in a 4v3 now in favor of SK. Crownie already down. Labrov trying to dance his way away. Nuke coming in from the side as well. Labrov has to flash. Sheo with a good knockback for heal for movement speed on DOS. Sheo, though, twisted advance to a minion if he needs it. Instead, just eats a ball to the back and he's fine.
So a single kill to SK. While the Dragon goes in favor of BDS, we know this is a team that loves prioritizing those early objectives.
Look at Adam, though. Sertuss wants to...
He's level 6.
Sertuss wants the cannon minion, so he wants to walk up for it. Doesn't get it. It's going to level up. Adam's just kind of sitting there with Ghost and Flash, daring Sertuss to walk up.
Do you know where I reckon the... Oh, Markoon.
I mean, Crownie's not having a good time at all,
Do you
is he?
reckon the comms from Irrelevant are like, I swear to God, Adam is mid lane?
Yeah, furiously pinging, saying, guys,
he's like,
Darius mid.
yeah, look, so
He probably
like,
writes it in chat
why
as
is
well.
this guy in my lane? And Irrelevant's like, I told you he was mid.
He's still there.
He's,
You see him yet?
Mid, just play safe. Play safe. I don't know what the issue is here.
Yeah.
His team's
Crownie's
just at a
getting...
payphone.
Crownie's getting the same treatment in the bottom lane, though. He is 12 CS down, 1,000 gold lead for Exakick on this Zeri. Something that he has brought out a few times in the past, and when they were winning so much in Winter as well, the Zeri was one of the key components of that for SK. Has been a while since they've been in winning ways, so the Decimate just short. Dominus comes out from Irrelevant. He tries to trade into the Darius. Hemorrhage stacks building up, and Darius healing once again with that Decimate Q.
Sejuani was coming Irrelevant. Looked like he was trying to bait Adam slightly lower into the river so Markoon can look for an angle.
Flash stun.
It's got
Flash
E
stun.
as well. Could
Flash stun.
here now.
E, stun. No need to flash. Easy
Sejuani
as
Renekton, baby.
that. SK get Irrelevant on the board.
Sejuani Renekton, empowered Renekton W. I think it's 3 stacks of Sejuani E, so he gives to his auto E and yeah, dead instantly. So much chain CC. Herald's not up yet for another 30 seconds, so that's going to suck a little bit for SK, but I mean, Markoon can get towards that level 6, and maybe they can look to force on that top side. Exakick doesn't have the flash just yet, but he has the Shiv first, so he can really start pushing these waves into the Kai'Sa.
Here's the wave clear, really starting to come alive for Nuke. You can see how quickly he'll clear out those waves. Still kind of sitting under his tower though, so it's easy for Sertuss to move into the river. Not that they're going to look for a fight right now. Exakick with his strong wave clearing bot lane. You already talked about the early Shiv, means that should be able to keep that pressure up. And now Irrelevant with the Iron Spike whip already secured.
It's a bit of an interesting situation to be in as a support here, because bot lane often becomes neutralized early in the game. When both the AD carries have a Shiv, they just clear the wave and you can't really do too much down there unless you have support from your jungler. And if I were in this situation as Labrov, I'd feel a lot better than if I were in this situation as DOS, because the Rakan has a lot more agency to team up with his jungler and look for ganks. You can see DOS will always struggle to get into these sort of positions as the right of the arcane does come down. DOS able to dodge away from all the 4 shots, but Labrov can just dash back out. It's just a lot easier for the Rakan to actually influence the rest of the map than it is for something like Milio.
That's fair.
It's just classic in solo queue. Hang on a second, Exakick.
He's ghosting. Watching the stream somewhere else, perhaps, as he tries to trade in. Dashing away, Crownie going in with a killer instinct. Exakick, you took a fight you just can't win! As Crownie comes out on top.
He had the Shiv advantage into Noonquiver, but he was level 6. He was so close to 7.
Well.
I think he tried to level himself up to get that point in queue,
He needed the cannon, which he just couldn't get the kill on.
That was, yeah, that was awkward. There goes the bot lead, sadly.
Markoon looking for the top lane as Adam is forced away. The Apprehend will pull Irrelevant back to decimate for a bit of healing. Sheo trying to get to the safety of this tower, or at least the relative safety. Rather a tower than a ball in your face, as Markoon now chases down towards the Rift Herald. Labrov on his reset, still only level 5. Can come across here though and try and disrupt a bit of SK's game plan.
Problem is, HP bars are not the highest for SK. Also, the mid wave very quickly cleared by Nuke. He's going to look to reset. Does, of course, have the TP. We're going to get a look back at this replay. So, Exakick goes into all of these minions. Bear in mind, he will be taking a decent amount of damage. He's trying to clear them out to also get the level up. But because he's not hitting that cannon, he's not getting the level 6.
Yeah.
And then the shield from Crownie was enough, along with the level up that he got.
The problem is he drops his ult stacks if he kills the cannon. And then does he win still when Crownie has ult? I don't think so.
It's also isolated to Cathy and Rain, right? All of those procs are hitting you, so a little bit of an overeager play there from Exakick in the bottom lane. We've seen a couple of them so far. This SK actually will just be able to secure this Rift Herald. You can see BDS were thinking about contesting, but couldn't quite get there in time. Irrelevant, unable to steal away that Scuttle Crab.
So we are seeing, again, another potential 1v1. Crownie's like, all right, next challenger. But we saw this from SK in the last game, where they early rotate their bot lane into mids. Of course, with the Shiv, Exakick should have more than enough wave clear, but your ability to contest that Herald, along with the TP being available once you hit that 10-minute mark, means that it would just be an easier collapse. They do get it uncontested. Now the Dragon respawning.
Labrov just hit 6 off clearing that ward, so if BDS wanted to start up the Dragon, they would have a level advantage in terms of supports. DOS has just reset, got himself a few more wards as the TP comes out from Irrelevant, which means that Adam will now run all the way down towards the bottom lane if he wants to help out his team, but doesn't look like they need it. BDS will be able to get their second Dragon of the game. A trend for them across this series, getting these early Drakes, stacking them up. It's been SK trying to fight from behind when it comes to neutrals.
I mean, it's the same story, right? When BDS made the finals, we joked about how like they didn't lose a Dragon in like 4 games. They were like 16-0 on Dragons. And even against G2, they were always prioritizing and securing early Dragons. They're very good at finding those windows where they can secure them uncontested. And they've secured themselves another one. This will put pressure on SK to look to fight them around the 3rd Dragon. So we'll see how things play out as we get to that point. SK, though, over-indexing on the top side. 5 members top now. They really want to secure this tower.
Labrov still has 6, though. DOS yet to hit that level 6. He's going to try and clear out these minions as Exakick jumps across the wall. Labrov with the quickness will get himself to a little bit of reprieve as Sheo steps forward. Rift Herald yet to be put down. Markoon still half the timer on that because he's been in combat recently. Now steps onto Sheo. Long-range Arcano Pulse from Nuke. The Nature's Guard's coming out as well, and they're just trying to nuke down Markoon, and they'll do exactly that. Irrelevant on the front line. Right of the Arcane hits 2. Get more damage the more charges you hit as the flash away from DOS will get him to safety, but SK overforced their hand once again, and they're coming up juices.
Playing really aggressively, our SK basically proxying in between 2 towers on a 5v5. DOS is finally going to hit that level 6, 12 minutes, 30 seconds into the game. AD carries are almost level 10. You can see Crownie's actually the highest level on BDS because of the amount of isolated farm that he's getting in Labrov, leaving him alone.
You have to wonder how different that last fight could have been if DOS had had his ultimate available. Could have cleansed Markoon the moment that he was rooted. But SK, they felt like that the bot side of the map was kind of falling away from them. They wanted to over-index top. BDS actually matched with numbers. I was surprised to see so many people in the top side, but this is something that BDS also love to do. They're like, we will never give you an ability to beat us with numbers. Yep. Adam will sacrifice his farm and sacrifice his wave, and if you go to Adam, we will come to Adam.
Exakick knocked up, locked up, shut out of the fight, but he's able to escape it. 100 HP on him. Miftail's used in the bottom lane before the plates fall off, so those will be cracked. The ceramic all over the floor as Markoon and Sertuss are able to get some more gold into their pockets.
Yeah, maybe Sertuss can get another plate here before they fall off, as Crownie is going to push out the next top wave, take a reset of his own. Dos and Markoon ready to back up the Azir. No TP on Adam, of course, playing that Ghost, and that's the thing you have to be careful of in the mid to late game. The Darius is going to overgroup and put himself behind. Just need to make sure you don't get caught out in the 4v5s while the Relevant's on that side lane, because you can see already experience, full level up for Relevant, 1,200 gold lead. They're going to have side lane push. The Darius will fall behind. It's just a case of making sure you don't over-index on plays when he is around.
So now we kind of look at the next neutrals, 2 minutes away, of course. These outer towers, though, are opportunities that teams could look to play for. And so then you have to kind of look at where the jungle and support are playing, both on the bot side of the map right now. Markoon wants the path towards top to clear out those camps. And you kind of expect to see Dos following behind. With a wave in top lane, they can look to try and secure that top tower, while BDS can look to cross-map. Right now, Markoon will clear out those camps, has his eyes on top. Just noticed all those wards, they are now fading.
More wards than your nearest hospital in that top lane right now. It's a lot of zombie wards that came down in the previous fight, so as you say, they are going to expire.
But this is what we were talking about just now, right? So they're even bringing Exakick up, so they're really overstacking on numbers to try and guarantee these objectives. Adam is going to be forced to play defensive. And so they should be able to get this tower as the cross-map happens in bot. But the difference is Sheo has come up top. He wants to offer some assistance here. And it's only the support and mid really attacking the bot lane.
Crownie's still pushing in mid as well. You can see Sertuss is going to try and answer that. Tower goes down in the bottom lane. That's a tier 1 for BDS. They're looking to make it a little bit more. Now, with the movement of Markoon, Crownie flashes away. Labrov underneath the tower, not tanking it because a couple of minions were there to do their duty.
I will say as well, the problem by sending your AD carry up towards top is that you are just passively losing a lot of farm. You already talked about it earlier, Caedrel, where because Crownie was left isolated for so long, he got all this free farm. He's got about a 500 gold lead for now. But Exakick needs to make sure that it's all well and good having your Darius overgroup kind of out of necessity, but your AD carry, ideally you want to be funneling as much gold as possible. Of course, not the end of the world right now, but hopefully we don't continue to see that trend.
Yeah, 40 seconds on the Dragon, and Exakick is a full level down. Let's check the setup. So Irrelevant can play on this top side of the map, push out, 1.4k gold lead for him. And can TP down. Crownie's just finished the Nashers, that's the W upgrade. So he's going to start dishing out a little bit of poke. And I don't think he has the E upgrade. Don't think he gets it at level 11 with those 2 items, with just tier 1 boots. I think he needs an extra dagger. Yeah, he's at 96% out of 100. So needs a level up. That'll help them in the next fight. Of course, has no flash as well. Bot push for SK, top push for SK. It's only mid that BDS can play through right now, but they've got a lot of poke. Needs to be careful for it. Kai'Sa Ws, the Xerath, the saplings. And Labrov having no flash means the engage is a little bit more manageable.
No flash on Crownie either, nor on Adam. Let's see how SK are able to wrangle their way through this next fight. Crownie pushing out the bot wave. Markoon now stepping forward to clear out some vision. Labrov's going to have to use that grand entrance to make a swift exit to the north. XC went stage right as the upper hand lands on Markoon. Glacial Prison has been used as Adam's locked up for a second. Irrelevant dashing forward. Lands the stun onto Labrov, but he's able to dash away in time. And playing on a knife edge here, BDS and SK.
That's 2 ultimates already used from SK. And I mean, to be fair to BDS, they still have control over the river. SK can't really approach as long as Sheo owns that bush. They're trying to force him out of it using the poke from Sertuss, but the poke is equally coming out from Crownie, chipping away at Markoon's HP bar. SK are now on the Dragon.
Oh, Sertuss to look for Crownie here. Sertuss goes in for Crownie, but can't quite get there now. Labrov is feeling a little disturbed. He gets down with the quickness as they ride in the arcane, finds Sertuss. The Dragon helping out BDS as well as Exakick's locked up. He has to flash, but the killer instinct lives up to its name as BDS clean out the fight.
Sertuss had to flash for that knock. If he did it, he would have gotten both of them, and then SK could follow up, but the second he misses and flashes back, that's it. He's got no escape. BDS can just pull the trigger and start to flash forwards on top of them. They get the Dragon, they're going to get mid-tier 1. They're pinging their Herald as well, so the game might have just fallen apart for SK.
BDS are just executing these fights better. When we think back to when BDS was sitting at the top of the league in spring, their team fighting is what they were praised so much for. Their ability to outmaneuver you in the 5v5 individually. Everyone knows what their responsibility was. And that combo that we saw from Nuke and the Rakan was beautiful. But here, look at this from Sertuss.
He needs to use the flash. What? That didn't hit? I don't blame him. I think that looked like it was gonna hit. He didn't have vision, but still looked like it was close enough. Maybe if he flashed, got the double knock, Irrelevant could follow up, but yeah, that's a nightmare. The Kai'Sa having no flash should have been a kill for them. Nice snipe by Crownie on the W.
Yeah, that quickness combo with the... do you know that right of the arcane?
Yep.
Right of the arcane, yeah. It was...
Xerath ultimate, for anyone who doesn't know the name.
That was his whole damage, by the way. 700.
I just rewatched it again. I'm so surprised that the Azir didn't hit Crownie. The soldiers kind of going through him there, so that's...
Sometimes it's an elevation thing when you're going up into the jungle like that, and a little bit of terrain that steps you up, so just out of range it seems, but I think we're all a little bit... We're on Sertuss' side in terms of thinking that perhaps
it's
it looked like it should have hit.
Yeah.
Either way,
a tricky one to manage.
BDS, they have a gold lead that's not impossible to come back from.
Whoa! That must have been a Void Seeker plus the Rite of the Arcane, right? Oh, he dies! The Void Seekers! The TP coming in now from Irrelevant, but as he joins the fray, you have to feel he's going to live up to his name pretty sharpish. Dashing away again, but those killer Void Seekers are just doing so much work. They continue to hit. Nuke and Crownie in another zip code as they land the poke from long range. The rest of BDS just acting as a front line for their artillery majors.
We thought Talia and Ezreal had some range in game one, but Nuke and Crownie really showcasing what it is to suffer under heavy artillery fire. BDS with 3 dragons, a healthy gold lead, another tower secured for them. And they're dominating here in game 2. The attack happens onto Sertuss in the top lane. He's playing defensively. He knows something is up, but that doesn't stop the damage coming down from this duo.
Yeah.
They're on a different screen to him half this fight. There's the Kai'Sa W.
Yep.
Proccing the passive.
Yep.
That
seems really fun to play against. That's it.
Yeah, Kai'Sa, Xerath, Maokai saplings. And the fact that they're this far ahead as well. I'm surprised. Actually, Crownie's level 13 on this Kai'Sa. Still
funneled so much XP.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also just picking up kills now. He was already ahead before, and now it's just being snowballed because while SK members are dead, he's continuing to pick up farm. And Crownie is incredibly strong. And there's little that SK can do about it. Their only real engage is Markoon, and we've seen a few times how that engage really hasn't converted into much. Around the river when they threw that ultimate onto Adam, Irrelevant ultied as well, tried to follow up, and there just wasn't enough there. SK are just kind of in shambles right now. They can't find that level of coordination to win out a fight against BDS. We get closer and closer to the Ocean Salt, and you imagine that will be one of the big breaking points that could determine the outcome of this game.
I mean, they have Azir, Zeri, and the range support, right? It's you can try and hold on. Just DOS is level 7. It's 21 minutes in. He was level 6 on that top tier 2 dive. When was that? That was
12
like
minutes,
8,
I think. It was
9, yeah, maybe 10 minutes ago.
Yep.
So yeah, this Milio is not really offering much as they have the range advantage and the scaling advantage in terms of having that range support.
It's because whenever you get anywhere near a wave, you take a third of your health from a single Arcano pulse.
Yeah.
I've seen...
Maybe he's going to Xerath ult here again and just have a bit of fun with it.
There we are. Right of the Arcane comes down. DOS has to dodge.
He's not scripting.
Manages to do that. Gets away from one.
Does so much damage.
Yeah, usually at that range you need a spotter to make shots like this. Crownie and Nuke finding their mark over and over again, and as the tier 2 falls in the bottom lane, BDS retreat. SK do have pressure on the other side of the map. Nuke looking to at least get the waves in. And we will back away. Labrov is being a little bit mischievous.
Well, we now look at the dragon spawning in 30 seconds time. The reset's only now coming out for SK. BDS are already back out onto the map. So they're likely going to be setting up for this objective first.
Yeah, it's dragon time.
It's dragon time.
SK need to find a way to fight it. It's all magic damage really coming out of this poke, but SK don't have the gold yet to start building defensively against it. There's the Abyssal Mask from Markoon. Crab sending over to Crownie, level 14 now at 22 minutes in AD carry. Good CS numbers as well, and yeah, it's so hard. Look at this. The longer this goes on, the worse it gets.
How do you hard engage?
Kai'Sa W, Xerath Q.
Poke.
Yeah, Milio's almost already out of the fight with one more skill shot landing.
Oh.
And there
How
he
are you
goes.
going to hard engage to kill him? Instinct in, it does! It is dead! Markoon rooted up as well, the right of the arcane. Last rites for Markoon. Nuke misses the last shot just to show that something from BDS can miss this game, but right now, 23 minutes in, they are 5,000 gold ahead. They will have an Ocean Soul. There's a Baron for them if they want it. No jungler for 20 seconds for SK.
Should be an easy Baron. I don't think there's any contest from SK available. They can't face check any of this.
I mean, we had a long, drawn-out, back-and-forth, low-kill game to start off this series, but here in Game 2, BDS, they navigated their way through the red side draft. They got a lot of comfort picks, and we have to come back to what Caedrel said at the beginning. With the win rate of Xerath being so low, Nuke's performance is putting him on the lines of
FLICKR
FLICKR.
BDD.
BDD.
FLICKR BDD right here.
So let's look back at this poke. It starts off with Nuke. Clean shot.
Yeah.
That really starts off the poke. Then Crownie follows it up with another. And then ult into execution. There's little he can do.
That's why he took the int out of his name, did Nuke. He makes plays like this these days. Still, Ocean Soul, 2.5 minutes for BDS on the Baron.
Would you say, Caedrel, that FLICKR needs to now rename? Because Nuke is now...
What would he rename to?
I don't know, just like...
Fake.
Nuke Jr. maybe?
Baby Nuke.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun. I had a jolly old time.
Playing against this comp,
Yeah.
BDS.
I thought of a really
Wait,
bad line earlier where I was going to say SK applied for a fun pass and BDS denied it.
That's not a bad line.
It's not a great one, though.
It's not great, but it's solid. The apprehend comes out. Adam trying to have a little bit of fun in the mid lane, and now Exakick can turn this one around. A lightning crash has already been used, but he's going to start losing those stacks. And yeah, in the end, Adam will be able to flash and ghost his way away from it. Right of the arcane, once again.
We can confirm he's definitely not scripted, guys. 100%, without a doubt.
It's good poke.
It's good poke, but you know, we know, you know.
Yeah. Sertuss is 2 levels down
Crownie
on
gonna go for the
Crownie.
ult W? No, it's too far.
Yeah, Crownie's 2 levels up on his own top lane.
Crownie's 7 levels up on DOS.
I've seen people be AFK and have less of a speed deficit. DOS is low, Labrov's going to lock up Sertuss. He knows that he doesn't even need to go for DOS. He'll fall to Sheo. He smites him. And SK have just been routed here. BDS bring out the Xerath, and it works wonders for them. Adds that little bit of poke into their composition, and SK were left floundering, unable to find an answer. BDS 1 game away from at least international competition. 1 game away from a 4th seed for LEC.
Yeah, calm, clean, and collected there from BDS. I feel like that dragon fight where Nuke went, where Sertuss went to that play was everything. That just either would win them or lose them a game. And
I mean, it was a series of events.
Again, I'm still thinking something sus there on that Azir ult, but still, that's the game, right? That's how it goes.
I mean, even before that play happened, remember that Sejuani and Renekton both used ult onto the Darius.
Yeah.
And so both of those were down before the fight even started. So even if he does land the perfect ultimate, does it necessarily change the outcome?
I mean,
you know,
SK made a lot of
Maybe
mistakes.
delays the game a little bit, and then
potentially, but it's
more damage numbers.
It's a situation where like they didn't have enough engage, and it comes back to something like you talked a lot about last week, Caedrel, which is range supports versus melee supports, right? When you have that range support, you naturally have less agency in skirmishing in the early game, and that gives these poke champions so much time to scare in the late game. But also, the only engage option was a Sejuani against all that poke. It felt like the...
Or a shuffle, right?
I mean,
it's just...
They also
so
scuffed the bot dive really hard, I think.
That's true.
And the top 5v5 in between 2 towers could have gone better. I like that SK, even though they made these mistakes and plays backfired, they just kept doubling down.
Oh, you have to.
Yeah, you have to, but it got to a point where, yeah, the poke comes way too far ahead, and like I said, Vedius, there's not enough threat on the poke to actually merit any form of engage actually working.
And now their backs are against the wall.
Yep.
They only have, well, they still need to win 3 games. If they can win next one, it will give them another opportunity, and obviously the pressure is beginning to mount for SK, but BDS, they see the end of their long journey in sight. Top 4 if they can secure this victory. And as you said, Medic, they can either qualify as a 3rd seed representing Europe at Worlds, or they can go secure that 4th seed and go up against Golden Guardians to the best.
And they can even go higher than that, right? Because if they play Fnatic XL, then they go Montpellier. You win that, you can go further up and up and up and up. But this guarantees you at least 4th seed, which is why we keep talking about that. For SK though, troubling times, a lot to work on. So far you've given BDS kind of what they want, 2 games in a row, and it's kind of worked for them, unsurprisingly, as they were able to pick up those 2 wins. Do you change stuff? What would be your call here, Caedrel? If you we
don't have time. Don't start talking, Caedrel. Don't you dare.
Don't do it.
Instead, we're going to toss to Guldborg and Broxah.
Don't need to hear from you. Shut up, Caedrel.
I really appreciate Vedius today. It's great. Caedrel, we can't hear you talk, wait to hear you talk afterwards, though. But we wanted to break a key moment down in this fight and maybe give you a context with the draft that actually came through from the side of BDS, because we've seen the Azir against Xerath matchup sometimes before. We've seen it not work. Broxah, just quite quickly, why is it that people are picking Xerath into Azir?
Well, Xerath has always been a good answer into Azir, because Azir is going to get slowly poked down, both in the laning phase as well as later in team fights, and in order to shut down the Xerath, you have to find a way to engage on him, to actually kill him. But that's pretty tricky, because the champion has incredibly long range, and usually his entire team is standing around him in a circle protecting him. Yeah,
and we kind of also saw it with the Maokai as well and the Kai'Sa, how easy it becomes with all this long-range artillery. But to really give the context, we've also brought a clip. Wow, yeah, I can't even believe it, but we are actually going to break this down as well. And Broxah, you have brought this clip today. So what is it really you want to highlight with this?
So I think for this clip in particular, it's really interesting to see how well BDS does against the engage coming out of SK, because SK has 2 clear threats. It's a Azir ult and it's a Sejuani ult, and they're going to use them to try to get to either Crownie or Nuke. But if we start playing the clip here, we can see SK is starting to take control of the river here, and Nuke, he's just standing behind that wall on the pink ward. They have absolutely no way of reaching him. Here we see the Sejuani ult being used on Adam, on the Darius, meaning the only form of engage left is on Sertuss, it's on the Azir.
I think it's really crucial as well if we pause it just now as well, because what BDS was trying to do is that they're trying to pressure the mid lane again, trying to gain access to the Drake pit, but once again, Nuke just gets around quickly. I think what's really pivotal is the fact that there's so many different threats from different sides, where it becomes so easy for them as well to try and poke them down slowly. And as you already said, like, without the ultimate now from Sejuani, it's going to be so much harder to actually find a pick. It would have to be the Azir, and well, it turns out it's him that tries to do it as well. So as we roll out the clip...
Yeah, if we play the clip here, we'll get to see the problem, because now Sertuss is feeling a little bit desperate. He sees Crownie walking up, but it's just not possible to make the play happen. Now they have no form of engaging. Nuke starts Xerath holding in the back, and no one will ever be able to reach him. And all of a sudden, BDS just steamrolls SK completely, and there's nothing they can do, because once those 2 ultimates are down, they simply cannot play the game. They cannot reach the Xerath, they cannot kill the Kai'Sa. And for Kai'Sa in particular, even if they do reach her, she's pretty mobile and she can often escape anyways.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say to it. It was just well drafted and well executed from Team BDS, and we'll actually see if they can complete the sweep after the break as we prepare for match point.
Here.
No flash on Crownie.
This is important.
They just hit level 3. That can actually be huge here. Cozy Campfire goes down. Good double knock from Labrov. Markoon flashing forward. The Storm goes down first. It's an absolute bloodbath, and not in the way that SK were hoping.
Hang on a second, Exakick.
He's ghosting. Watching the stream somewhere else, perhaps, as he tries to trade in. Dashing away, Crownie going in with a killer instinct. Exakick, you took a fight you just can't win. Wow. As Crownie comes out on top.
No, Azir is going to.
I mean, Azir. Renekton.
It's good for us, it's good for us.
Look, okay.
They're stuck in mid.
Yeah, they're stuck. Look, Zeri,
Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
I'll push me.
Oh, insane.